I'm thinking.
Right now, I'm going to start the interview. So, hello. Today, oh my god, I fucked up. Oh my god. Okay. All right.
You're killing us, Caleb!
Welcome to episode 4 of our podcast of the Total Dbags podcast. Joining us today is our 4th and most sophisticated member, Liam.
Hello, everyone.
Liam, tell us a little bit about yourself because you are one of the most knowledgeable.
Liam.
Shut up! God damn it! Why, Matt?
Well, you know, Callens, I'd love to tell you a little about myself, but unfortunately Matt has decided he wants to talk instead.
Right. Since Liam, you are one of the more knowledgeable members of the Total D-Bags when it comes to wrestling, tell us about your experience.
Would the audience please turn off their phones? Well, I've been into wrestling since I was about 8. First wrestling show I went to was a terrible indie show on Hastings Seafront when I was about 12. I've never been to a TNA or WWE event, mostly because I don't much watch either of them anymore. But I have been to a couple of British wrestling events. FWA British Uprising 3, featuring the man who would later be, well, he still was at the time, because he just used his real name, Burchill in WWE. He was in a 6-man tag team match with Napalm's dad, Terry Funk, and it was awesome.
So Terry Funk is my dad this week?
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, I basically that's it. Do I need to list my favourite wrestlers?
Yes.
Like you guys did. Okay.
Yeah, we basically did it by, rock and roll era, attitude era, and modern era.
Matt.
Rock and roll era, I'd say probably.
The Rock.
Matt.
No, rock and roll era, Ric Flair. Just because there's no better wrestler ever.
For me, I'm guessing rock and roll era would be from...
Shut up, Sammy. No one cares. This is me now.
This is all me.
There we go.
It is. Well, that was a good moment where Sammy interrupted.
By the way, Kalens, I can't kick Sammy. I'm not a mod in here.
What? Shit!
Matt, that doesn't matter. We're talking about me now. So anyway, before I was rudely interrupted by that guy, don't add him back.
I'm blocking him so he can't get to the call.
Well, anyway.
So much editing.
Let's just start over. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week.
Damn it! Oh my! No, we're not starting over. We will press on. Liam, continue with what you were saying.
I will start again on this little bit.
Okay.
My favourite wrestler from the rock and roll era is Ric Flair, mostly because I think he's probably the best wrestler there's ever been. From the Attitude Era, Owen Hart. Because I think it's to Vince McMahon's eternal shame that, or A, he died, and B, he was never WWF champion. And my favourite wrestler currently is probably... I'm going to have to be really boring and say CM Punk. Because I think he's... I'd say Daniel Bryan is more technically gifted, but I think CM Punk is a more complete wrestler. And unlike Lundy, I don't think John Cena is any good, because I know what I'm talking about and he doesn't. So yeah, that's me.
Also, by the way, Silver is here. He knows nothing about wrestling, so he'll probably be quiet.
Silver, shut up. Anyway.
I was introducing Silver. He can't shut up when I introduce him.
Well, he's there.
And Sammy was on here, but...
Oh my God, shut up! Why do you keep doing this?
Because you have to explain shit to fucking mouth breathers on YouTube, Kalis.
Oh my God!
It's a miracle that they can turn on their computer and remember their password to fucking YouTube.
God, this is so stupid. Oh my God. Okay.
I can tell Matt is going to be the heel of the show.
Okay. So... Well,
yeah, I picked Fandango as my #1 best debut ever. That
well, you know what? I picked Mass Transit to fuck you, so there you go. That's my fuck you to that. It was my fuck you to that.
So it's like if you were my dad and you caught me smoking cigarettes, you OD on heroin. You didn't teach anybody any lesson ever.
Well, hey, my choice to pick Mass Transit was more of fuck you. There we go. So,
well, I suppose you want my top 3
yes,
debuts.
We do.
Okay. Well, we'll do the worst first.
Okay.
Because everything must get better. Third is Steven Regal in WWF for a very simple reason. Although he'd go on to be William Regal and, one of the more interesting characters in the 2000s in WWF, he started off as Steven Regal, the real man's man.
Oh!
Which is possibly one of the worst gimmicks.
He wore like a lumberjack outfit and everything. That was hilarious.
He looked like the brawny man without the mustache.
He did!
Yeah. And, he went, he sort of wore a hard hat to the ring, and it just looked terrible.
That nearly killed his career, didn't it?
Well, if you think he'd come from WCW, where he was multiple-time television champion, widely regarded as one of the toughest and most technically gifted wrestlers around, and then he's, wet shaving in the woods, crushing oranges in his hands, and coming out to a theme tune which is among the worst I've ever heard. Which I'm not going to sing for you because just thinking about it makes me too sad.
I can play it though.
Do you have to?
Yes.
Oh, for God's sake.
Like, I have to because the audience needs to be able to experience what we're saying.
Fine. Oh, God.
He's a man.
Okay.
God, I want to do some Iron Foundry work right now. I want to go to the gay Iron Foundry in fucking Springfield. Just be like, I work hard and play hard. That would make this song a lot better if it just broke down into like It's Raining Man. Or whatever the fucking song was in fucking the gay Springfield Iron Foundry. Meh, 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 meh. Everybody dance now!
Oh, God.
Oh, dear.
Like a gay sort of version of that song.
So yeah, that's my number 3. Number 2 worst is DDP in WWF, which...
Oh, well, he was a stalker?
Yes, which... Although the idea, I suppose, was kind of alright, it would have been better suited to someone who didn't really have anything to lose in terms of credibility, like, I don't know, Steven Richards. Whereas, DD...
Or Gangrel, yeah.
Well, Gangrel was long gone by then.
Because he got fired for being fat.
Oh, yeah. Basically someone like Gangrel who no one really cared about.
Pretty much.
As opposed to DDP, who...
this is former WCW champion DDP, and I think this is part of the, WWF basically shitting all over the WCW sort of, like, cream of the crop, along with the Rock saying to Booker T, who in the blue hell are you?
I think that was kind of a way of sort of building up Booker T because he was getting into a feud with a main event guy in The Rock.
But Booker T was a main event guy.
Yeah. Like, basically just sort of introduce... I'm saying that it's kind of a weird way for the WCW to try WWE to try and introduce Booker T to the audience.
Well, they introduced him by having him beat the crap out of Steve Austin.
True.
But yeah, I think, you know, it just wasn't a gimmick that should have been given to someone like DDP. But then DDP didn't really do anything in WWF anyway. Number one, and I know Callance and Matt, you both don't understand why this is here, but the gobbledygooker. Just because the whole mystery of what's in the
I
egg.
know.
I agree. I agree with
What's
the gobbledygooker.
the egg?
There.
And then it's just this giant chicken thing.
It was a turkey, Liam.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care. They're all the same once you cook them.
Like, hey, turkey is drier. Just saying.
Well,
Not if you cook it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, but
we're getting into the minutia of how to cook poultry.
But yeah, it was a terrible idea, and it just made the whole thing farcical.
Well, to be fair, though, with the gobbledygooker, it's like, what did you expect to come out of the egg? Like a dragon?
They could have done something like that. You know,
Right.
they give people ridiculous nicknames. You know, Terry Taylor was the Red Rooster.
Like,
Ricky Steamboat was the Dragon.
they had Doink the Clown, so I will say that, yeah.
Well, clowns don't come from eggs.
No, what I mean is, like,
They
in terms
they
of...
do if you've seen Killer Clowns from Space.
No, hold on, I mean in terms of ridiculous, gimmicks, basically. Like, they had an evil clown who was based off of it.
Also, Liam, if you've ever watched a Tick.
Yeah, a Mortal Kombat character, so there were lots of different, like, ridiculous gimmicks, so I can kind of understand how you would be kind of interested in what would have come out of the egg.
Well, they could have had a wrestler called like the Raptor or something, because that sounds kind of threatening, and he could have punched his way out of the egg and then kicked Gene Okerlund in the head or something. Just something like a bit, you know, something to spark the imagination, not just
A man in a turkey outfit?
Well, yeah, a man who looks like he's had about 400 like neckties stapled to him.
You know, I'll give this
running
to you,
around
Liam.
going.
If he at least when he got into the ring got his fucking ass handed to him, that probably would have been like, well, that was that.
Did he
But he did. He just danced. He danced with Mean Gene, and that was it.
Did he ever have a match?
I don't know. It doesn't really matter. He's terrible enough, but it doesn't matter.
By the way, did you know, Liam, that the gobbledygooker now has a YouTube series
Yes.
It does.
where it basically follows his life after the ring? He got an office job. Did you know that?
Owen Hart can't get the WWF Championship, but the gobbledygooker gets a YouTube series. That's what's wrong with Vince McMahon. Anyway, from the crap to the good, top 3 good debuts. Starting off with 7 in WCW, aka Dustin Rhodes, aka Goldust. And I liked this because, you know, the vignettes, you know, were kind of terrible before he actually sort of made an appearance and, you know, made himself known. And then he floats down to the ring, and it was a mixture of kind of cool and just flat out ridiculous.
Yeah, by the way, if you don't know, Liam, they got the idea from the 7 gimmick from one of my personal favorite movies of the 90s, Dark City.
I did not know.
Yes, like he's
the more
basically...
you know.
Yeah, he's basically based off of the Strangers from Dark City, who are telekinetic albinos who, amongst other powers, have the ability to float.
Well, they're aliens. They were aliens. And they kidnapped us. They captured a portion of the Earth.
Bastards. But yeah, then his like shoot. Well, I'm sure it was a worked shoot. Basically, just saying how WCW dressed him up like Uncle Fester and how it's all terrible. That I thought was actually pretty great.
And now look at him. He's Goldust again.
Exactly.
Nobody gave a shit about him as Black Rain.
Yeah, I think I actually said this in the pod. This was actually discussed in the first podcast, I believe. I asked Matt, did no one care about Goldust before Dustin Rhodes before he was when he was in WCW?
Oh.
And everyone was like, no, we didn't. No one cared.
Nobody cared about him when he was Dustin Rhodes, and nobody cared about him when he was Black Rain. Sorry, Liam.
Well, they did a bit before he joined WWF and became Goldust, because obviously he had the legacy of being Dusty Rhodes' son.
Yeah.
You know, and he had some not terrible feuds with people like Steve Austin. He then had a terrible feud with Terry Funk, but.
Family means a lot, too, in the business, so, like, if you're, like, a third-generation wrestler, you are guaranteed to get a spot.
That's why I'm making this prediction, by the way. Since, WWE has now pretty much closed off anybody from TNA coming in.
Yeah.
I will say this, there's one exception to that.
Who's that?
Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
I know the Roode family is nowhere near as prestigious as, like, the Rhodes family, but it's still a wrestling family.
Well, we've talked about this before, I think, and I think all of us came to an agreement that, yeah, that would be the case if he were to try and go over.
Don't forget, it's not Bobby Roode, it's actually Bobby Roode. Jeremy Borash doesn't acknowledge the existence of the D and the E in his name.
It's Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
So
yes, 7 is at 3. Number 2 is Roddy Piper's debut.
Good old Roddy Piper.
Basically, spend about 6 or 7 minutes
right.
verbally abusing Vince Russo in one of the most beautiful shoots I've ever seen. It's just a work of art, really, and yeah, it's good.
Good old Roddy Piper
in human form.
Actually, I want what promo was that where you used
number 1?
All right, go ahead.
I sent it to you. You have it somewhere in the realms of the chat box.
All right, thanks.
Number 1, I couldn't actually decide between any of them, so I've
a tie.
Cheat.
It can be kind of a tie.
I've decided to go. It's a 3-way tie between Cactus Jack, Love, and Mankind. Because I just couldn't choose the 3 of them.
You know what? We thought you were going to choose Dude Love, actually.
Well, the thing with the Cactus Jack one was the way that WWF did it was really quite clever. That's, Dude Love was originally supposed to be in the match, and he gets on the Tron, Triple's in the ring, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not the man to sort of hang with you in a street fight, Triple H." And then Mankind comes onto the screen while Dude Love is still on the screen, and they have a conversation with each other, and then they bring in Cactus Jack, and then Cactus Jack fights the match, and that I thought was brilliant. But then, conversely, you have the Dude Love debut, which I think is just one of the great comedy moments in WWF, where at the start he's just like, "Oh, it looks like you could use a tag team partner," and then he doesn't come out for about 3 minutes, and then when he does, Steve Austin's just like, "Who is this guy? What has happened with my life that I have to be teaming up with this?" And then at the end, he sort of begrudgingly gives him the other half of the tag team title. But then Mankind was just probably some of the best sort of atmospheric promo work going. So I couldn't choose between the 3, so I didn't, and I chose all of them.
I think Matt was about to say something, but
I was. I thought I was unmuted.
While you were lighting up.
You know.
So fucking yeah. Plus, it's kind of not a cheat when you think about it, because it all is Mick Foley.
Yeah, they're all the same. They're all the same wrestler. So it's okay.
I'm absolved.
Yeah, so it's not really a cheat. I thought you were going to choose two different wrestlers, actually.
No. It's just 3 different characters. So yeah, those are my top 3 debuts
And
on my Dbag's debut.
yeah, our most sophisticated member, Liam.